Punters and dribblers and investors and traders, welcome to a glorious day at Traders Community Podcast. We have the glorious Madavi with us, who has just flown back in from Barbados, I understand. That man with that massive Q short. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? And we went through all that yesterday. We went through the relief rally, the shorts, etc. we put back on. We got Johnny here as well. So we're going to go through all those trades. Hopefully you people had a bit of a listen and took advantage of what we're trying to share. Remember, this is not financial advice, political advice, social advice, any kind of advice. We are just going through what we see, how we trade, what we use, and what the pros are doing. And yesterday was a very good example of bringing it up to be sold off, professional versus dribbler, basically. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the S&P. This is one of the bigger falls, but this happens, we said yesterday, after most Fed meetings, it comes back. Now, not typically it gives it all back as fast as what it did, but remember, this was the first time the Federal Reserve of the United States raised rates 50 basis points since 2000, and that was Alan Greenspan. So it was a very specific day. That's why we worded it relief rally. After the market yesterday, Brazil raised rates by 1%. Earlier, before the Fed, the RBA raised rates. This morning, the Bank of England raised rates and said they expect inflation to be 10%. All that's going on. Oil, 108. Natural gas, 880. That's the real world. And that's why we talk about that. Yes, some of the shorts we had yesterday, well, firstly, Madavi and I trade differently. As you know, he made a decision to be short natural gas, and to be honest, and he'll tell you, he didn't even look at it today once it started going, so he wouldn't be tempted to buy it back. Remember, that's a swing trade. Whereas I trade more off the grid, and that came right in, as we pointed out, and hopefully you're using these charts now, right to the daily tanking and the plus 2H. That was a gift from God right there. So we're going to go through where we are now. Oil, 108.60. That is with President Biden flogging more SBR oil. The S&P, 41.56. That's right, punters and dribblers, 41.56. Russell, 1873. Vol X, which is a couple below the VIX, 31. That was 25, I think, today, Johnny, or 26 at one stage. Nasdaq, 12,902. Yes, underneath that 13,000, whatever. Or actually, was it 14,000 yesterday? What the hell was it yesterday? Anyway, Natgas, 880. These are real things, real costs, real despair. The bond market camped over 3%. The 10-year sold right across the board. That yesterday. Remember, I said, look at currencies, look at bonds. We looked at those yesterday. Don't look at the... So the lowest form of it, I don't know if you want to take this the wrong way. You can if you want. But the highest form of trade investors usually is bonds, currencies, and it works all the way down to stocks and property, okay? As far as risk management, etc. goes. So we will, I know he's biting at the bit, so let's start with the Nasdaq. Let's bring up what it did. So I'm going to just remind, so this is where Madavi went short, and it's all on all these things, and he's updated every day. Up here, 14. And so the difference is he's only maintained his short. 14,500 odd. And here we are at 12,900, right? And this was his break, if you recall. And the first target, lo and behold, is this pink line. That's the first target, which was reached today. So that's the weekly. Here's the daily. You can see exactly where that was. Okay, mate, go to it.
All right. Like we spoke about yesterday, I said, hey, it's not feeling good. Never does. You get a lot of self-doubt, especially when you get those big moves. I mean,
you have self-doubt?
I don't call it self-doubt, but I mean,
anytime
you sit there and lose a large amount of, I don't know, large amounts, but sum of money, it makes you think your position twice if you think you're doing it right. I mean, 500 points in any day, and when you sat through the whole thing, and even though it's profits, it's a big chunk of your profit,
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah, you're made of sterner stuff than me.
And normally I'm never good at doing this. Let me tell you, this is an experiment. I'm trying to hopefully getting better at it, and so I'm used to more like trading and not holding these positions. But hey, I think I'm in a stage right now that I want to try to get to the other side, and that's why I'm taking on this experimental, more of a swing position for me. So I added, like I said yesterday, I had 20, and I added 2 more. So I added a little bit more to it, and hoping that it was the top. Then I had some VIX, which going to expire, I think, tomorrow, and I still have them. And I think me and Johnny were trading ESI, and I still have some of that. And
yeah, you and Johnny shorted Etsy at the end of yesterday. It was a nice trade.
And Johnny held some, I believe. Johnny, still have yours, or what's yours?
Yeah, I got rid of mine earlier today. I should have kept it short, but I didn't.
So how'd you do on them?
Pretty good. I mean, I made 10 points, I think, more.
2 points? Oh, so you did well.
I thought so. Yeah, so you shorted it. So as everyone knows, I short Snap like religiously. Apple.
That's my favorite stock too.
Well, actually, you're the one that. So to improve my trading, because I don't. So I concentrate on futures, 100% S&P, crude oil, natural gas, but NQs is Madabi's baby, and it's just not the way I like things tighter, just being from those other markets. So he said, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, right, mate? Trade Snap. So I trade Snap in lieu of the
it's a great stock.
NQ. It moves. And so you get to know it. So as you know, we shorted into the close yesterday, and we were down, 50 cents or whatever? Obviously it just collapsed today. The danger is I'm still getting out of some of it a little bit early, but you get out piecemeal. And the difference is really when we go through the S&P, you'll know what we did yesterday.
I don't know very many people that could sit in front of a computer and not get out of something.
Yeah. So that's what you got to do is you decide whether it's a long-term or short-term trade. That's what a trader does. You have a book, basically. But I think you're selling yourself short, mate. Yes, you're holding this, but you also do manage the risk. Because what you do is you yesterday, you did a great job. I can't remember the name of the stocks, but you ran them up, made really good money on it. And to add to your short, you said, okay, I got enough of this Nasdaq short, so you added safer by buying options on the VIX, so you limited downside if it did happen to go up. So that's pretty nice trading. The difference is, I guess, between you and me is I flog them and then get back in them the next day or whatever.
Well, I mean, normally that is my trading style, but like I said, I'm trying to.
Oh yeah, we've sat and watched you evolve, but
change something and see if I could, been trading for so long, I want to see. And I think there's an opportunity here that we might not get for the next ever in our lifetime. I don't know, my lifetime.
We'll get them again. We've seen a few of these. The hardest thing is staying in them because they're all, and you've done 100. The difference is I try to trade the wave, so I'll get out of the constructive wave. You've done a great job of recognizing the fear and the greed and how it all falls apart. Because you've crushed... I'm just going to go through some of the ones you've crushed in the short.
Let's be honest, man. This is the second, third time I tried this, and you know how the last two ended.
Yeah, but you changed this time. You waited for the market to change, and you changed when the bond market told you to change. That's the big difference. And so, what really grinds my gears, is the great Peter would say, is when people claim there's someone they're not, right? All of a sudden they're macro experts, they're this, and they don't even freaking trade or they've never been around trading. We see that shit all over with these dribblers all over FinTwit and TV. The bottom line is when the bond market and Forex markets dictate stuff, that will dominate. And that's what's happened here. The US dollar 20-year high. Commodities through the game, and I said it 6 months ago, as far as commodities goes, when China and Australia got in their little trade war and Australia said, F you, dude, took their frat, that changed commodities right there. Commodity, Forex changed dramatically a few times. Brexit was one of them, but it's other things. So people make the mistake of thinking it's all US dollar or euro or what. Each country trades a little bit different. Then bonds, it's all to do with the yields, right? And that's all to do with risk. So you had two things. You had the carry trade in the yen, which people don't get through their brain. That's what Japan wants. They're an exporter. We said that the other day. So all that played out, and Madavi recognised that. And we had one of the dribblers cost him a shitload of money shorting Upstart. He totally bullshit about it. Probably wasn't in it. Cost him money. And it made him look at these stocks. I mean, I guess I'm kind of speaking for you because you're too proud. What's the word? You're not a show off. You're not a show off.
But
but you changed after that, and then you realize how these dribblers think, and you pounded a bunch of these Moderna, what was it? COVID type stocks, and a lot of the dribbler stocks. Like after that, you knew to smash Upstart. You sold the piss out a lot of the DDD. In fact, we created the DDD, which where a lot of it's a short, like the Palantirs, the Paths, Tasks, and all these stocks. We have heavy short from way above here. So that's that's our longer term one, I guess. So that's how it's all evolved. Because and you get it wrong every now and then. And then the flip side is obviously on more energy. So we've done really well, obviously, energy and stuff like that. Yeah, and some of the little dribble, I see that BBBIG going up, yeah. So, and what's also, I think, so that's been a dramatic...
the 50.
You're going to buy it?
I'm going to go to 50. I took it all out.
So we've seen a lot of this stuff, as I've said, over the years. So that's the involvement of trading. So the other thing, sorry, I'm trying to bring up the bloody other screen. I got one of the other boys' accounts on here. Hang on. So trading, you learn something new every day. And it takes, look, firstly, as you know, me and Madavi been mates since Adam was a boy, but we watch each other evolve and we help each other when we bad or good. But I've seen him evolve quite dramatically in a change I never thought, because I'm more the stubborn old shit, right? And dramatic and do it better than what many people I've ever seen. And I've been around and managed it the best you can. And the best way I can describe, and do yourself a favour, go and read up on the turtle traders and Ed Sekoda and learn about pyramiding and dramatic. And you'll see that's what it is, where you add to a good position that's going your way. See, where a lot of these dribblers did, they would just buy the dip because it worked. They didn't really know what they're doing. They don't know how to trade without just cold, hard, follow the market, right? And that's where they blow up. They follow systems that they don't understand. And what I always say about Nova Wave, understand where it come from. Understand the people so basically we realised we believe Gann, Ty Murray, guys like this were brilliant mathematicians, could read a crowd, and the guys that made up Ichimoku and all that. That's all it is. It's mathematical, gives you discipline. But you know where it comes from, right? And you've got to understand when they're wrong. When market profile's wrong, you get blown apart if you don't know what it means and all this other shit. So anyway, hopefully you guys are benefiting and doing it. We notice sometimes there's tons of viewers, other times there's not. Anyway, so I'm not going to be as nice. That's my 7 minutes being nice to Madavi, Johnny. So
Cool.
Oh, thanks. Needed that.
that's a record, right? But anyway, so you see that. So let's look at what this can do, the NASDAQ. So this is a major, major level right here. So tomorrow we have a jobs report. So that's the other crazy thing. How you saw a lot of dribblers saying the market bottom was in yesterday. Well, all it was all the shorts covering and then all the longs covering ahead of major events. So you had two more central banks and you have the jobs report out tomorrow. So anyway, you know on your grid all the potential downside. This low is 38%. This is all maths from this low that we marked out 6 months ago, right? So all on your weekly report. So that's what these levels are. Then there's a reason these things work. On SPOOs, okay, let's go over to SPOOs.
Well, mate, you got to remind people what they used to think about these numbers, like job numbers. When before everybody's conditioned, more jobs, better. But that's not the case now. Now everybody has to think of it the opposite way. You want less jobs and less things for the market to do better.
Yeah, so now it comes down to interest rates and inflation, doesn't it? Yeah. Or real costs.
Nowadays, well, the jobs are doing great. They're doing great wise in the markets.
So I think they're real. Well, there's two things, I think. Firstly, I think there's so much overhead supply. And remember, I've said many times over the last couple of years, never buy a bloody... If the only reason you're buying a stock because they're short it, you're going to get lit up. Every now and then, you get a moron like the guy Melvin or whatever, short of GME, averaging. That's not normal. People are short stuff for a reason, and hopefully you understand that now. So the other side of the short is length. So all these people long all these... I mean, look, what's that one we made money on the other day? Lyft. So many people are long these things without looking at why, because of brand recognition or something like that, right? So just because they got a fancy name or you know them, at the end of the day, you're investing in a company or disinvesting. And part of investing is also shorting or managing or puts. However you put it, you don't have to be one way. That's the advantage of trading. Now, a lot of people don't seem to understand that. If they're from bonds or currencies, often they do. But anyway, very good point, mate. So what we know, and so we just saw that on NASDAQ. You got the same level on the S&P. So that was 40.50, I think, Johnny. We looked at it earlier. Is that right? So same level. Look at this shelf. Now, all up here is you got all retail or people holding it, mutual funds. Now, some of these won't sell because they're in it. But what happens, as Madavi said, is people start losing their jobs and that, right? I mean, that's the reality of this whole mess that we're being put in. And you've got probably the most inept political leadership I've ever seen. They're definitely quiet. It's one mistake after a mistake. Redirection. So when everything's bad, there's always something to redirect. The latest thing, as you all know, if you live in America or anywhere, is this whole abortion thing, which came from effectively a white paper from the White House, from the Supreme Court, and so these are just opinions for a start. Anyone who's a lawyer, and it's federal to state. We understand all that. We're not going to. But the point I'm trying to make is it's another intentional redirection from how bad the economy is and all the other problems, right? All the people haven't got over COVID, the mental anguish. So you've got to keep dividing the country. That's what it's all about, right? And don't misunderstand that. And that affects the markets because it gets you off your game plan. So you got to separate what you do as an investor or as a trader, separate from all that stuff, and understand what they're doing. And it's like every company that reported Madavi, remember, they would blame the Ukraine. And they got nothing to do with the Ukraine, half of these things. So these are all redirections. And I'm not saying they're not happening. That's not what I'm saying at all. But that does influence decisions and gets people off guard. That's the only way I can explain the manic moves yesterday. because it goes on. Okay, anyway, let's look at some crypto, Johnny, because that is at a massive, massive level too. So these are all punter type instruments, stuff like crypto and all that. So we just looked at the S&P and Nasdaq at massive levels. Look at where we are on this is the chain, the channel on the weekly Bitcoin. Look where it's at. This is where it's held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. If we break this, there's not much left, right? And this is a fifth of a fifth, which means that's the end of it. Or it's 1 of a fifth, which means, so those that are into this totally changes everything, that would be a 1 of a fifth, and it goes to 200,000 or something. Those that have their doubts, this is the end of it. Perfect 3, 5, and we go back down here to nothing, right? That's your two alternatives. It's really that black and white. If we look at 60 minutes, you compare this to what we saw today, what does that look like, Johnny? This is
like
Bitcoin. It looks it is a problem, but it's exactly the same as what we did today in the stocks, right? Exactly the same. So you can see this punter money is in all this stuff, right? And every dribbler's on there. He looks angry, doesn't he? He looks angry, our boy. So you've got that going on. That's the important thing with that. So if we look at where's the energy? We rebooted this. I forgot. Okay, so let's move on.
Hey, the BBIG is low and moving, by the way.
380, right? Yeah. I got it up. I got one of them.
The shit all stock, but it just went up like 75 to 80. It started out at 50 when I saw it, when I first noticed it. I got it at 55.
Ah, nice. That's one of Al's ones, right? I
got it at 50. Sorry, I got it at 50. Sorry, when I was talking about 55. I'm just looking for it. I bought it at 50. 48 was when it started. Yeah, that was one of Al's ones. I don't know, but I just want to let you know if anybody's looking at it.
Okay, super. We'll put up those charts in a real sec. So, first, let's talk about oil. Oil was a bit of a given. Come Tuesday, we knew that meeting was coming on Wednesday. We knew it was an EIA meeting, we knew it was Fed and also jobs report, and also Bank of England. So remember, you got Brent and you got WTI. So you look at those events, you know that a lot of people are going to square it. You know if there's anything that's going to move the market, it's going to be thinner. Lo and behold, 1.2 to 112, basically, right? The last 3 days. So think laterally, all this sort of stuff. Let's look at oil on a hourly basis. A freaking weekly basis. So, sorry. Too much coffee today. So look at the top. Remember I said Cajun tanking. Look what the top was. This ain't magic, people. Boom. That's discipline. And having, just being very disciplined and having a system that works. Now, this isn't for the faint-hearted trading this stuff. Now, I had a question because I said yesterday I was shorting P10, shorting EQT. Why are you shorting that? Their energy. Because the stock's way ahead and they're way overdone, right? And it was just, they're day shorts. They're not big ones, and we do structures. And lo and behold, they happen. The reason I'm mentioning it, not just because they work, but they're stocks, we're bearish to stocks, and you're effectively managing your risk. You're not going to be right on every one, but you're hoping if you're wrong on one, you're right on the other, and it works, and you build your portfolio that way. So you saw the point being the fact they're being stocks overtook the fact that they're in energy, right? Which should show you, I think Madavi mentioned a while ago, that a lot of people just have to sell because of margin, so they tend to sell their good stuff and keep their crap, right? That's human nature. People take a big loss and don't let their profits run. That's a real weakness of trading that you need to overcome. Okay, let's look at natural gas, and that's been the big one. Natural gas had its EIA today. It moved down sharply after the report to about 8.12. You'll see it in the daily. Look what it's doing. It's in this explosive move. This is beyond all rationality. This is why we use the grid. And look what it's doing, right? So it's very hard to trade. And if you trade against it, which we did once, bought some cold as a hedge, and you quickly get out for a small loss if you're going to do that. If you look at the where's our daily? So if you see daily, you can see. So this bottom was right after EIA, and then it exploded. All this stuff's on the website if you want to look up the fundamentals. And you can see what it did right at the end of the day. It corrected with the Chical and it's trying to rebalance. This is in a dangerous zone if you're long. Plus 2H, plus 3H as far as it's overbought. But you just saw in that weekly with this power, you have to be aware that there can be a lot more in this. So plus 4H is up here. Because it's just a manic move, right? So this was going to be a 5 of a 5 or a 5 of a 3. Obviously it's not a 5 of a 5. So we've gone a lot higher. So now this has to be a 3 or a 5 up here. Just simply move that over. Real simple. And remember just all you need to understand about Elliott waves is impulse wave and construction or continuation wave. Understand that and you'll get these power moves right. Okay, stocks. What a long day. Let's look at this little bugger first. This is called the Treasury bond. What did bonds do today? So you can see what happened, right? So down means bonds weak. So bonds got sold off with the stock market, right? So what does that mean? Higher interest rates, okay? Actually, if I find the yield, might be easier. So here we go. Actually, this is, we got to go to the next month. Hang on. JM. So, we saw selling right across as you would expect. So this has just started a new month, so this might be next to useless. Yeah, that's what you can do, you it's good. But you can see the yields. I got to find a month that's actually on this chart. But you can see where the yields are all camped over 3%. That's not healthy, is it, guys? Okay, let's look at some of these stocks are going to look pretty brutal. Here's Nvidia today. We broke down to that cloud and look where we're held, that lower today. These are weekly charts. SMH. So you can see all same patterns. So have a strategy.
This live trade right now, BBIG.
Let me see if we can bring that. I might have to bring that up in the other software. So we're in BBIG.
Okay,
Well, it doesn't take long.
I'm doing okay in it.
Yeah, I did it.
Nice.
In
Good.
the other,
You always do it. You always kill it.
I don't know about that, mate. I got one short on that I'm not doing too good on right now. Hey, I wish that was the truth, brother.
I smacked all that 50s. I took a little good position.
So I'm gonna bring it up on the trading view chart, just so it's a bit quicker. Whoops.
I don't know. I mean, where would you get out of this thing? I mean, this thing looks like it's got room to me.
Well, so on days what the heck's going on here? I haven't been on this site for a while, but
I mean, last time I traded this stock, it went from like this range always $6. You got to remember. Well, man, I'm not giving no advices over here. I'm just talking between.
Yeah, we're showing as mates.
Yeah. I mean, this thing, for all we know, go back to 10 cents tomorrow.
Well, I'll give you the tip. We won't be in it tomorrow, but
probably a good idea. I mean, we might talk like that, but the chance of us holding this thing $6 is probably the same chance as Jesus coming back tomorrow.
So hang on. Is this not updating? Oh, this is weekly. I haven't been on this software for a while. It's just that I don't have this programmed in our normal one. So I thought it'd be quicker doing this. Here's a 1 minute chart. There we go. So you can see what we're talking about. What the heck's going on here, bro? Someone else has been on
It
this.
just moves so big compared to these other moves. That's why you need to widen out your thing.
Yeah, but this is. Oh, this is
That's
five.
right.
Okay, sorry.
people
This
get
is
the
five.
message.
This is 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. I'm not sure what the news was on this, but this is what we're talking about. So here's where we've bought it, 352. It obviously closed down here. There's obviously news on it, probably earnings or something else. 260, but it's purely trading order flow. You can see at 410, it's plus 1/8. So plus 2/8 would be so it's already overbought here. So we're just trading this $4, and you're watching the bid come up. So that's watching that live. So we'll keep that up while we're talking. So let's look. How can I? So I think if we do this, bring that over. Okay. Now let's look at the other.
Put out for us.
Huh?
Something got to do with crypto. I don't understand this stuff.
Oh, they're a crypto stock.
Something close a business. You receive a distributed crypto common for every 10 shares of. They're going to use some kind of token.
That's why Alan bought that originally, I think. So
I don't even know if the tokens are worth anything. Maybe Meta Johnny will know.
are they worth anything, Johnny?
I guess if like stuff that is given to you for free on the internet, I don't know what are you talking about? What happened?
He's talking about
Some kind
the
of-
reason Be Big is up.
I don't know. If you
No,
own
they're
the
like they're a
TSLA,
play
you
that they're
might
supposed to be
help,
integrating. Yeah, they're supposed to be a play integrating this whole crypto thing.
But
That's
is
why-
tokens worth anything?
Yeah, they're just one of the tokens that are out there. It's not their own token. They're just using one of the altcoins that are.
So are you mortgaging your house and kids to buy this?
Not really too familiar with anything other than what I read. It's just a big,
not-
you know,
You're making me not wanna hold
it's
it
like a
anymore,
square.
John.
Well-
It's like a square play, you know, or one of these other PayPal getting into Bitcoin and altcoins, and the currencies are going to start being digital.
Yes,
Blah, 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 blah.
I got one word to say: selling them. Might be,
Seven.
that might be 2 words. So let's look at some of the stocks we traded today. Apple, as you know, we ran that up yesterday. I can't believe we sold it for what we sold it yesterday. That position on Apple. So it gives you an idea. So if you remember where I dumped all that Apple at the close yesterday, Madavi, look what it went down to, 154. That's actually $12.
Well,
Now,
this is the reason for sometimes I got to take extra naps is because I got to work on how do I hold this when I'm in front of the machine.
Right. Well, you do a pretty good job.
Not really, man. You know,
Oh, well,
I see all the guys who do it, mate. We've seen over time, but I think those guys, especially for guys who are programmed like us, to not let something be red. I mean, red's like
well,
disaster.
that's the hard thing. Yeah, you got to, 100%. So there's some stuff I just can't trade because of that, right? There's a good example. We mucked around with Al on one, CYN, if you remember that. So we bought it at like 4. It went up today on some news. And I'm so bearish anyway. So I'm up on it. Then it pulls back. I stop out for 10 cents loss. Remember that, Johnny? Lo and behold, it runs up 70%. Because I'm programmed actually bearish from futures or whatever, you're 100%. Whereas you can hold that sort of stuff much better than me.
I mean, take
Horses for courses, right?
an
So,
example.
bless
Yesterday, we traded that HYMC and had a nice run after the market. Look at it today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I took my little... Remember that? I zonked out it. Actually, Al traded that well. He called me after the market yesterday. So, anyway, so here's Apple, classic, breaks this triangle, breaks the caging, comes down minus 1/8, 155, big options level. Underneath here, there's a lot of angst. The reason this is important, a lot of central banks own it, a lot of mutual funds own it and all that. What else did what was it? Snap. Well, you know that. Snap's just See, here's the thing that helps me.
That was the best trader. You had great margin on it. You shorted both ways all the time.
So, I like to short stocks that I think are crap, right? It makes me feel good. I don't mean good, like I'm comfortable is the word. So, this one we shorted, and unfortunately I find it really hard to buy when I'm bearish, right? So, I would love to say I made this yesterday, but I didn't. I just do that by S&P. Anyway, we've shorted it at the close here. I was down, right? So I was down all this, and then it collapsed. But look at it; it's just the mirror image of the Nasdaq. It's a cheap margin, and it's a dribbler stock. So you have the advantage where they're buying dips, collapsing. And if you keep up and watch these little pennant, well, I did get out of some of it a little bit early. Look what I got down to, 26.80, mate.
Wow.
So I was down 50 cents. If you got a good position and you believe in it. Now, here's something you got to be careful of. I'm going to show you this stock. This is another one I did. So I didn't have any options on this. This hurt me today. And I'm going to show you EQT. So it's another favorite I have, right? Because it's one the dribblers get in. And that's not right. Oh, there you go. I was going to say, I wish it was 30. So I've shorted this as well yesterday and P10. Right? So the difference was, because I'm a bull on energy, I sold $40 puts against this. Do you remember that? The trouble is, I didn't sell the whole position. So what it meant was, though, because the bottom's busting out of this, you don't know how low it's going to go. Look at all the room on Murray, right? And get down to 36. I didn't cover all my shorts. I just covered those unencumbered by options. So just remember yes, it's great. It kept me in it, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't cover all my shares here, right, Madavi? Because I didn't want to get all of a sudden long here at 40 and then I have to reshort or whatever, how I'm ever going to hedge it. So that's something you got to be in mind. If you do that, and you're a day trader, it's hard to do it. So these are more of a bigger book. I'm just trying to show you the difference. So by me doing that, I'm not going to say how big the position is, but that's a $2 move. So use your sum and your imagination.
Is in the last 2 months, the guys who were really successful trading are not that successful anymore.
Because most of them weren't traders. They'll just buy the dip and they're so arrogant.
Now right? Guys that I know that are older traders that have been trading for a while, they're beginning to put up some good numbers.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some blokes have the best. I mean, we've had some of the best trading days ever.
But that goes to tell you short you. You trade long enough, you become a bear, right? Because everybody starts out as a bull, becomes a bear, no matter what.
That's like that old saying, everyone's a socialist till they're about to go to university, right? And then you become a capitalist or whatever. I forget the whole saying. It's Bernard Shaw.
No,
then you become a realist.
Anyway, out as a capitalist and go to a communist or socialist or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. You go the other way, right? Yeah. So there we had other stocks to go through, but we don't want to bore you. Let's go back to the one we were looking at. Where did I put that?
Well, the BBIG I got out at $4, and
yeah. Well, as I was saying, right when we were looking at that was overbought 4 plus 1/8. So you can see on the grid how that works.
As soon as you told me that, I was going.
Yeah. I don't. You saw my left hand. You know what it did.
Like I said, the chance of being long for tomorrow getting $6 with zero, not happening.
So at the end of the day, you look at these and you know it's overbought, right? That's what we have all this, right? So part of Novaway is the key is understand Murray, know how to code it, understand your itchy, not just some I have seen, I can count on one hand, and I've been around a while, how many people know Ichimoku. It takes years and years, all this stuff, because there's so many nuances to all this stuff, right? So be very careful. I've
been trading for a lot of years. I can't claim to know much about it. I know
but you haven't spent time to learn it because you have other
No,
skills.
no.
And
No,
you
I just
certainly
don't,
don't, and you're not one of those dribblers that looks at something for 1 month, tries to suck people in as being an expert and blows people up. That's the point I'm trying to,
I mean, I got a certain trading style that usually most people are like, I don't know if that's good for my stomach.
Yeah, we are from a different clothes. But so,
I think I'll go with something else.
So that's why, personally,
Look at this thing. Look like a jet, basically flying in the sky, right? And just pretend that jet right there at the top is when it starts coming back down to Earth to drop the capsule.
And
That's kind of what it looks like, right?
Yeah. And so here's the important thing.
What are those parabolic moves like that?
And so that's why we use maths. Look at this. Bang. That we bloody had it. You can see why we're selling it, right? Why I said it's, I've even got this program to tell me.
I'm kind of looking back, maybe it's kind of, where did it start at? 240? Wow.
Yeah, 260 it looks like. Yeah.
Well, I got it late at 350. I thought I was one of the first guys on the board.
Actually, Johnny saw it going up when we traded. So actually, Johnny shorted some Zillow after earnings, made some money. I missed it. I don't know why I missed it. But
when did you do Zillow today?
Yeah, they had earnings after the close. They had Zillow. We tried to get Dash. It was too fast. We needed you would have got it. Boom. Too fast for us.
Don't give me that much credit. I'm getting old my age.
Yeah. I've had more concussions than you, I think. So
I'm in Square right now. I'm short in Square.
You short Square?
Yeah.
Man, Square.
From what's that?
Dude, I never thought you'd short anything with the name Block in it.
This man was a long man. You told him short, and you look at you weird.
Yeah, we took him to the dark side.
Told him the long man.
So here's Square. Wow, they had earnings today. So here's what they've done. They took it like a champion. This is a 5-minute chart. So where's the close? Right here. So here's the close. So it sold off all day from 107. Wow. Shit. I need to trade this. Down to 93. From 93, so earnings, where's 3 o'clock? Right here. So we had earnings. It's rallied all the way to 108. And now we're back to 103.90.
Now you're talking about trading wild stuff. That gets like to the front of the pack.
Yeah. I think Madavi.
It was 105 to 103.
I think me and Madavi just need to call it a career. Just sit back and watch.
Damn, you shouldn't be scared to trade nothing after looking at that.
That's today's market, Madavi. Market.
I actually started. I was long going into it, and then I turned around and went short.
Damn.
What price are you short at?
105.
Oh, it looks
105.50 actually. What's that?
You're like over a point in the money.
I just got out. 103.
Oh, you're doing good.
60.
So what do we say?
Yeah, 105. 105.50. Look at my tape here.
So let me see. So we got a jobs number tomorrow. So that's a big deal, obviously. But as Madavi said, bad numbers are good numbers. So we want to, but you want to see how the bond market reacts to it. So hang on.
So don't let the CNBC and Kramer and those losers fucking cheer you on.
Oh yeah, they're dribblers. Don't forget that.
Great. Let's give you your cream. That's great. We're great.
So here's what we got. Here's what we're expecting tomorrow. The NFP, the consensus is 395,000. The prior was 431,000. Why they got? The privates. So basically, the only bit of the economy working is the privates, right? So get that headed. So that tells you it's just real. Everything's partisan in the US now. It's split. So 390 is expected. The unemployment rate is expected to fall or to stay at 3.6%. So here's what you got to watch. So there's two ways. One of the reasons it crapped itself today was was it today? Yeah, the job cost numbers really blew up. Really inflationary. But the reality is you need an increase in real wages for everything to chug along. So you've got your bankers and your people that just look at other people's things that live in a captive environment in Wall Street or something. don't understand Main Street. So that's going to change over time. But right now, you're going to look at your average hourly earnings. The consensus is 0.4. I think is there anything else, Madhavi? That's called a comment to look at. Then at the end of the day, you got consumer credit. That was a blowout number.
Too much info. Let's get them tomorrow.
Yeah. And so just one last thing. You might remember this affected the bond market. It's one no one really looks at, but now they are. Consumer credit. Americans and probably other countries, we just don't know. Can't say we look at them, but they borrowed the hell out of to keep the same standard of living. They, borrowed to buy their gasoline or whatever. So that blew out to 41.8 billion last month. They're looking for 25. That may do something. That's about it. Look at your chart, those levels we gave you. Go back and watch it. That's it. Awesome trading, everyone. Beautiful discipline from Madhavi there. And all that. Fiddling in one of the boys' things here. HYMC was one. We'll just finish off with one of our mates is watching pretty hard. They got some announcement next week. So they were up a bit today. They're actually big after night, so maybe that does something for those that like the small stocks. I guess it's a meme stock, right? So that's it. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button. Is that what we're looking for? Smash the bloody subscribe key and all that. Good job, everyone. Hope everyone who's watching is enjoying kind of what we're trying to show and do. And
there goes our BBIG retirement program. We thought we were going to retire in the stock.
Well, there's some stories we could tell about some of these stocks, right? Damn, those Dribbler ones.
It just fell almost a point.
Yeah. So remember, let's look at that one more time so you get an idea how the Nova Wave stuff works. So you see it live. We ain't telling stories. So there you have it. Remember, 410, 348. So, but look at it. It's all mathematical. Now, most algorithms are maths. So this is a lot of this is algorithms, right?
And you can't short it. So you
can't short this one, right? Is that what you said? You tried, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Square would have been a better short.
Okay, there's our buddy.
I think there'll be one more buy in here somewhere. Maybe.
So here we are. So that is going to be that's G's new tattoo he's getting. Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I like it. I was gonna get a father and son one.
There you go. I kind of like the little eyebrow piercing. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. He's handsome.
Okay, so on that note, where the hell is it? There it is.
He's got all the spikes. He's got all the things. He's got that's my son. You don't muck around.
Exactly. That's got to be the most aggressive chainsaw I've ever seen, right?
I mean, he's a most aggressive dog I ever seen too.
That's a bear, isn't it? I don't know.
Oh, that's a bear.
Well, he is a bear. He just like turns into a bear when he gets mad.
Yeah, which is fairly regular. Okay. On that note, everyone, enjoy tomorrow. Keep your wits about you. Bye now.